Diplomacy, it often sends a message without saying very much. Sometimes a single invitation, it can reveal more than an official statement. Well, that is exactly what happened this particular week. Ladies and gentlemen, Iran has reportedly invited the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, to attend the funeral ceremony of their former Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. This information, it comes at a time when the whole West Asia, it is still recovering from weeks of conflicts, uncertainty, intense diplomatic negotiations. Now we see India's POV. This is a very delicate moment. New Delhi shares long-standing civilization ties with Iran. At the very same time, India also maintains strategic partnership with the United States, Israel, several other Gulf nations. In fact, very few countries have managed to maintain strong relations with all the sides, and that too in such a complicated region. That is why every diplomatic move, it is carefully watched. The information itself carries symbolic importance, by the way. It reflects the relationship India has built with Iran over many decades now. Energy cooperation, connectivity projects like Chabar Port, cultural exchanges and historical links have connected both the nations despite any changing global policy. And yes, at the very same time, the Indian government has advised its own citizens to avoid any non-essential travel to Iran until and unless the security situation improves completely. Although conditions have become more stable in recent days, but officials, they continue to exercise caution here. This highlights the difficult balancing act India faces. Protect strategic partnership, maintain diplomatic neutrality, safeguard Indian citizens, and continue engaging with all the superpowers. And that balancing act, it has become one of India's biggest strengths on the global stage. But while diplomacy continues, tension inside the Gulf, it has not disappeared completely, because Iran is once again making strong statements about the American military presence in the region. Well, the war may have slowed down, the negotiations may have begun, but the rhetoric, it has certainly not disappeared. This particular week, Iran once again criticized the United States' military presence in the Gulf. Iranian officials argued that the American forces are creating insecurity and increasing division across the region. This particular statement, it came shortly after a joint declaration issued by the United States and members of the Gulf Cooperation Council. Here, Tehran described the whole position as intervention, provocation, and irresponsible. And weak. At the center of this discussion is one of the world's most strategically important waterways, the Strait of Hormuz. Every single day, millions of barrels of oil travels through this narrow passage. So any disruption immediately affects global energy prices. In fact, financial markets, shipping companies, and consumers around the globe. And that is why every statement coming from Iran, it is closely monitored now. And yes, at the very same time, another important development has taken place. The International Atomic Energy Agency has just confirmed that the interim peace agreement provides the inspectors with access to Iran's nuclear program. Although, wait, the discussion over the scope and the timing of inspections, that is still continuing. But for the supporters of diplomacy, this represents progress. But for the critics, many questions remain unanswered. Can inspections guarantee transparency here? In fact, will sanctions eventually be lifted? Can both the ends trust each other enough to reach a permanent agreement? These answers, they are still uncertain, but one thing is becoming increasingly clear. The next few weeks could determine whether this peace process, it succeeds or it collapses. And yes, even as diplomats continue talking, new military incidents are reminding the entire world just how fragile the whole situation remains.